So I've had these Realme Buds Air 5 Pros for about 6, maybe 7 months now, and these things have always left me impressed. In fact, especially compared to the last generation of Realme Buds Air, what were those? The Realme Buds Air 3 that I reviewed. I wasn't expecting much of a difference with these, but I have to say, Realme has hit the ball out of the park with these, and they've quite literally evolved compared to the Realme Buds Air 3 on many fronts. On a build front, they've done a pretty good job. It's much the same as the last generation, but it is still glossy. So I'm not a fan of this finish. I do like that they do have this metallic button here, which does protrude a little bit compared to the previous generation, which was flush and was just the same plastic finish. But the back of the case has picked up scratches over all this time. It's bound to, because it is a glossy case at the end of the day. So if you don't want your case to scratch up, you can consider picking up a case for your case, which I guess is a bit weird. But of course, if you don't want to see the scratches, that's the only way to do this. The earphones have held up pretty well. Now, the one thing that I am not too okay with is that the entire stem is this sort of pearlescent metallic finish, and there's no marking really for the touch area. You just have to tap on the top. One thing I do like about the Oppo Enco Air 3 Pro is that it does have a slight recess over here, so you can tell where you have to tap. So if you do hit the stem on this, or the lower part of the stem, it's not going to register anything. You have to hit the upper part of the stem. So that's one weird thing, but I do like that they've got this sort of orange section on the inner part of the earphone. So when these earphones are completely folded in, they do have a different look compared to some other earphones out there. Overall, it is a nice finish. It's held up pretty well. When it comes to the earphones features, it's absolutely packed to the brim with a lot of the features, but a lot of the stuff that you want to control and really control and make your own, so you can have a very personal experience, all of those settings are within the app. So let me quickly show you what's in the app. You will have to get the Realme Link app, of course, to make this work. And of course, you will see the earphones and the case's battery within the app. You will get the noise cancelling, off, and transparency modes. And below that, you do have a sound effects mode where you can choose between 4 different presets, which are Serenade, original audio, original sound, pure bass, and deep bass. So I find myself usually listening to about maybe original sound and deep bass. Well, that does add a lot of bass to it without getting too overboard. And you can also create a manual setting if you want, which is a nice thing to have. And then moving on, you do get golden sound where you can test your ears and it will compensate for any hearing loss you may have, which is nice to have. Then you also do get spatial audio, call it spatial audio, 3D audio, and so on. It's much the same thing. It will give you an expanded soundstage or a narrower soundstage depending on what mode, if the mode is on or off. And then moving on to, well, it does have LDAC support, which is high resolution. If you are into high resolution music, you do have that option, which is always nice. Dynamic bass does let you kick the bass lower or higher if you want, which is a nice setting to have. If you are a bass enthusiast, you do get the volume enhancer, which, well, it does boost the volume. I usually have this off because I don't listen to stuff very loud. And then, of course, you do get the dual device connectivity. You do get a game mode. This one's game mode, I think, drops it down to about 49 or 50 milliseconds, which is pretty quick, or it might be quicker than that. I'll leave the info up here in case I've got it wrong. And then it does have a earbud fit test, which is always nice to see because you might need to put a different sized ear tip. And the button settings I found a bit weird in my in-depth review as well, because you have no option for a single tap. Everything is double tap, triple tap, or a touch and hold. Maybe they've removed it because people were complaining about accidental taps or touches, but I would have liked to have had a single tap to begin with, and then a double, triple, and a touch and hold. But anyway, Realme has made this decision for whatever reason, and there is no single tap over here. And of course, then you can do whatever the software updates are, auto and answer calls, and you can switch the in-ear detection on or off. I like to have it off whenever I'm doing a lot of comparisons because having everything stop while I'm swapping earphones is a pain. So it's nice that this has that option of having in-ear detection on and off. Like the Oppo Enco Air 3 Pro does not have that option in the HEM LED app. The other features it does have its active noise cancelling is pretty good. In fact, I did do a comparison between the Realme Buds Air 5 Pro and the Oppo Enco Air 3 Pro, and I honestly did think that the Oppo would be at par, but it's not, because Both of them manage to suppress volume levels pretty well, noise levels pretty well, but the Oppo tends to let in a section of higher frequencies in even when it's in its maximum ANC mode. And the Oppo also does have a wind noise reduction mode that's on all the time, whereas the Realme, at least I don't think you saw it because I wasn't wearing them, but when you're wearing it, you do have a wind noise reduction option that you can switch on or off, which is of course nice to have. But the Realme is able to drop down those higher frequencies that bleed in with the Oppo. So straight away I'd say it's a very good performer. It does a genuinely good job with its ANC, and of course along with its ANC does come the environmental noise cancelling, and the same mics that govern the ANC also help with the environmental noise cancelling. And honestly, its call quality of carrying over your voice compared to at least the other things that are available in the market, it's always seemed a little bit clearer. It seems a little bit finer. But instead of me telling you how my voice would sound being carried over to a recipient, here's a quick demo to show you how it will perform in a busy setting. So I'm calling you from the usual busy street I do all of my call tests from, just to give you a sense of how much these earphones are going to be battling with their environmental noise cancelling. And as you can see, there's a whole bunch of two-wheelers, four-wheelers behind me. There is some construction work going on over my left shoulder as well, and you may just get an occasional pressure horn. And there happens to be some road work going on next to me, so it might be interfering. But anyway, it's better to test these earphones to their maximum. So I have been on the camera microphone all this time, and I will switch over to the Realme Buds Air 5 Pro right about now. So this is the overall vocal tonality you can expect to carry over to your recipient. Now, in all the comparisons that I've done with this set of earphones in particular, I found it to be, I think, the best. It carries the vocal tonality, at least in this price range, a lot better than some other earphones can. In fact, the overall noise that is eliminated with these, at least that I've seen in my in-depth review, it does significantly well. So it's a nice evolution from the Realme Buds Air 3, because that was an absolute disaster, whereas they've done a very good job with this. In fact, I was expecting the Oppo Enco Air 3 Pro to be better than the Air 2 Pro, its previous generation, but it's fallen flat. This has actually climbed that ladder pretty well. So now in my in-depth review, I do cycle between the ANC modes while on the environmental noise cancelling, just to see if there is an added stress on the environmental noise cancelling while toggling through the ANC. So if you do want to see that demo, you can head over to my in-depth review, of course, just to see if there is any difference, and if you want to see my review in better detail. But of course, I do hope that this demo has given you a better understanding of these earphones. And of course, I will see you back at the studio. When it comes to its battery life, it's always been a good performer, but what will affect it is when its active noise cancelling is on, and if it's on its LDAC mode. So if you are not consuming high resolution music and you don't really see a benefit with higher bitrate audio, just put that mode off, because it unnecessarily uses more energy and it's bound to kill your battery that much quicker than when you're just using the SBC and AAC codecs. I myself take these off after about 2.5 or 3 hours, because I do like to let my ears breathe. It gets a little too hot for me. Keeping your ears sealed for a long time is not very safe, so it's good to let them breathe once in a while if you're listening to a lot of content for a long period of time. But overall, I have found that even whenever I've listened to this for about maybe 2.5 or 3 hours and I put them back into the case, they've got about maybe 45 or 50% of battery remaining. Now, one thing to remember is battery times will definitely fluctuate depending on if you're using your LDAC, if you're using your ANC, and the most common factor of battery fluctuation in between different users is volume, because I normally listen to my stuff at maybe 35-40%, not more than that, maybe even lower than that at times, because this is a loud set of earphones. Whereas if you are listening to your content at 65-80%, it's bound to deplete your battery that much quicker. So that's one thing to keep in mind whenever you're consuming media. Moving on to the most important thing for me, at least. Well, the one thing I like about all earphones is how they sound, because I'm not really using their features much. I'm not looking at how they're built much, because I'm just consuming media or listening to music. So on a sound front, this set of earphones has genuinely kept me quite surprised with its overall performance, because it was usually the Oppo in the previous generation that was always, it made more sense to me. It was always better detailed and so on. And it still holds true. The Oppo is still better detailed, but that's about it. Realme has done such a terrific job with this on the sound front compared to the Realme Buds Air 3 that I mean, it's got everything you need. It's got heavy bass that most people will like. On its basic serenade mode, it's not very bass enthusiastic, so you can put it onto the deep bass section if you want big bass, which almost sounds like it's got a separate subwoofer on. And then the highs are mellow enough not to cause fatigue. And the mid-range, I'd say, is the one place where it actually does better than the Oppo, because the Oppo tends to thin out in the lower mid-range, making some vocals sound a bit tinny and a bit on the nasal side. Realme has nailed it with this. It's somehow still elevated, so your vocals sound nice and rounded, and at the same time it can have heavy bass without interfering much with the detailing mids and highs. And the thing is, a lot of people, at least I've seen in my comments, aren't too into details like the Oppo offers, and they're okay with, you know, having a little lesser detail but fuller sound. And honestly, that's what this set of earphones does. I think they've really listened to the masses, and they've decided to give them exactly what they want. And it is an enjoyable set of earphones. I mean, especially even on a sound front, it is fun sounding. If you're being an absolute stickler, if you're an absolute audiophile who wants utmost detail in your music, I won't recommend these to you. But audiophiles are maybe the 1%, so it might not make sense to even address an audiophile when I'm talking about this kind of earphone. This is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be enthusiastic and fun to enjoy your movies, games, and music with. So would I recommend this set of earphones after all this time? Well, even though it's been about 6 or 7 months since I've been since my first review of these, I still think they are definitely the newest set that is built for the masses from Realme, and they've done a terrific job because it is a terrific all-rounder, be it sound, be it build, be it features, be it call quality. In fact, I've got a few comparisons where you can listen to this one's call quality up against everything else in its price range, and it's always a little bit clearer. It's always a bit more, well, you can understand what a person's saying to you better with this than most other earphones in particular. So honestly, it's a very fun set of earphones to listen to, and I would definitely still recommend these, especially if you want something that is it's just good at everything and doesn't set you back too much. So anyway, coming to the price, well, at the time of recording this video, this does have a maximum retail price of 7,999 rupees, but you can make this yours for just 4,999 rupees. And I think there are sales going on right now. By the time this video does go live, there's a whole bunch of sales going on, so you should be able to get a better deal. And I do get comments from a lot of people saying that they've got it for a really good price. So if you do happen to be one of those people, let me know down in the comments how much you did get this for and how you did it, because a lot of people would also like to benefit with great deals during all of these sales. So there you have it. That's my long-term report on the Realme Buds Air 5 Pro, and I do hope that this video has been helpful and informative, and I do hope that I helped you make some sort of purchase decision. If you would like to help support the channel, I'm sure you know exactly how to. But of course, thank you for tuning into Paul's POV for some sound advice.